Hi everyone! So today, if you want to generate more traffic on your website, well, you need to run ads. But advertising performances rely only on your capability to attract your visitors, and I mean all your visitors. But with GDPR and the mandatory use of consent banners, study shows that in fact, you will lose track of 80% of your visitors in average. Why is that? It's because they simply take no actions, but your consent rate could go up to 85% with a little optimizations. So if you're managing a website, I'm pretty sure that you agree that this is a really serious topic that demands careful optimizations. And if you don't want to waste your media investments, you need to maximize this CRO, this famous consent rate optimizations. That's why in this video, we'll cover what regulation is really asking you to do, what are the existing solutions nowadays, and what are the market's best practice in 2022. So let's see this together. So what does the regulation ask you to do? The website is required to let users from inside Europe to control the activation of each cookies and trackers that collects their personal data. And for certain websites, that could be quite a huge list. So there are two main types of cookies. You have the technical cookies and the advertising ones. For the technical cookies, they are mandatory for the proper functioning of your website. For example, if you want to let the possibility to your visitors to go back to the previous page, you need to keep in storage the page they were viewing before. But for those, it is not necessary to ask the consent of those cookies. You just have to inform your users that you are indeed collecting their information to help the good functioning of your website. Advertising cookies aims at tracking and analyzing a user's past. They are here to drive value. So for those, the GDPR requires first to collect the consent by a clear positive act. And we'll see later on in the video what they really means by that. So if the visitors, for instance, continue browsing, you can no longer consider this as an implicit consent. Nope. You have to collect a clear consent by ticking a box, checking something, or clicking on a call to action. Then you have to give the possibility to the user to either accept part of the cookies or to refuse them all. And then you have to allow the user to change his mind at any time if he wants to. First, you can avoid the need to collect your user's consent. Because, for example, you can use a contextual targeting for your own media campaign. This will avoid you to target internet users as individual. So that could be a solution. So for this method, in fact, it is not necessary to ask for the consent on the cookies. Also, if you only need to enhance your website and don't plan on doing any media targeting on individual, you can use analytics tools such as Matomo, Fathom, or Analytics Suites 2 from AT Internet, because they are GDPR compliant and they do not need the collection of unexplicit consent. Yeah, why not? And you could ask me, what about users using an ad block? Is this blocking the display of the consent banner? What can we do for this? So by default, the ad blocker does not block any consent banners. It's not its main purpose. It aims at blocking advertisement on any website, and that's it. But if someone really knows how to use an ad blocker, he can indeed by configuring the ad blockers as to block every consent banner. And in that situation, only the strictly minimum cookies that are used to make your website works will be triggered, and that's it. So one solution that you can do is first to use a ad blocker detector and display a message to those using an ad blocker to help to invite them not to use anymore this plugin on your website. And finally, apart from the ad blocking topic, among the existing solution, we have the CRO that I talked to you about. It's a constant rate optimization. How much you can put in place to A/B test some slight iteration on these consent banners and make sure that you could maximize the amount of people giving that consent to collect their personal data. First, the approach of the consent banner is binary. You have no choice but to answer to the consent banner, or that's it, you cannot browse further. Look on the times, for instance. You have not any other choice. You have to either accept, refuse, or manage them, but you cannot browse further until you give an answer. The second one is that they position the button at the most natural level for the thumb. If you look at the mobile version of a consent banner, this is so obvious. It's exactly so easy for a user to click on it because it's at the right height. Also, they play on the corners to make it more visible and more attractive to click on it. Another best practice is to keep in memory of the browser that the visitor already gave his answers. This is really important. You can ask your developers to make it so that the cache of the website is making sure that once you answer to your consent banner, you won't have to make it twice when you come back to the website. Another best practice that websites use is that they still give the possibility to the user to deny all cookies, but they display this in a way that it's not exactly clearly visible. For instance, on Fnac.com, which is a big e-retail website in France, and I translate this, don't worry, we have two main buttons, and the one which is accepted on the right, so that means if people are right-handed, it will be much faster to click on it. And then the second one is to handle the cookies. And as you can see on the top right corner, it's not exactly that much visible, but you still have the possibility to continue without accepting the cookies. So they still are compliant with the GDPR because they leave the possibility to the user to refuse all cookies, but it's not exactly as visible as the other two options. And some other website goes as far as Rue du Commerce, for instance, which is Deals Street. And they are kind of what I would call a gray area with a dark pattern, because when we check on the consent banner, as you can see, they are in the same disposition as Fnac.com. They are having two main buttons, one to accept all the cookies, and the second one to manage the cookies. But at the top right corner, when you're supposed to have the keep on going and accept without accepting the cookies, we have close and accept. Or on the top left corner, which is not usual, we have this famous continue without accepting. So they made an extra effort to actually try to redirect people to give them consent. So I'm not quite sure that will last. This will last in the long term, but still, I think it's worth noting. And finally, as a last practice, I've noticed that people need to be transparent with the usage of the cookies and why they are collecting those cookies. Sometimes they do this with a funny tone, and I think this is a smart way to approach this. Others, like for instance the Times or the Guardians, do this by really spending the time to explain why they need to collect your data to simply survive, and I think it's the good approach. And then we have the last one, but this one is kind of tricky and I think it won't last in the long term, which is the cookie wall. Some media websites don't give you the choice, and you can either pay to access the content or simply accept all cookies. So this last solution is in fact currently in debate at the French National Commission. So I'm not so sure it won't last in the long term, but so far so good. As long as they didn't give any answer, you can still use this for your own website if you wish. To sum it up, for the existing solution, you can try to simply avoid collecting the consent of your users. Or you can go to CRO, which is optimize your conversion rate on your consent banners. On that matter, don't forget to prepare your test protocols to set a conversion path and to track everything so you can have the tools to optimize everything. When this is set, you can turn to the best practices of the market. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to be notified for the next video, don't forget to subscribe.